Geno just got extended 3 years, $105 million. My
Wow.
goodness. Geno Smith to the Seahawks, 3 years, $105 million. That's a lot of cash. What do you think of this news?
Well, yeah, I mean that's a ton. That's a ton. So I think that's an overpay. I didn't think he was great late in the year. He's 33. He's probably played his best football, but who knows? I mean, he's another culture player for them. You know,
Right,
he's they love him.
right.
How many guys do you know of that don't break out until their ninth NFL season? I mean, but he
He's
had
got a little
30
Rich Gannon
touchdowns.
in him, right? He's got a little Rich
Yeah.
Gannon in him. Yeah.
And he legitimately played well. I think he's like I think a pleasant surprise as a starter, but I don't think they're winning Super Bowls there. But he
Yeah.
threw for 30 touchdowns and
He was good.
led them to a wild card berth in a rebuilding year. So
He's good.
supposedly he has a really good rapport with Pete, with
Yeah.
the offensive coaching staff, with the receivers. So he's ready to roll. But I think Seattle hits quarterback in the draft in addition to Geno.
Yeah. To me, this is why you should be drafting quarterbacks every year or every other year, because you don't want to be in a situation where your option is spend way too much for a good quarterback or have no quarterback. That's tough because you see good quarterbacks make way too much money. They're way too expensive. Great quarterbacks make a lot of money too, but at least they're great. Good quarterbacks, what are you paying for? A guy who's going to fold against the 49ers 3 times a year? That's what you're paying $35 million a year for? Great. You think the Niners are upset or scared? Probably laughing right now. So what you're better off doing is being like the Niners and being able to plug and play quarterbacks on rookie deals over and over and over again. I'd rather do that than do this desperation, disgust. I hate this.
Well, so
I hate this.
what was the AAV on that?
Oh,
Let's see.
I mean, that's like 35 million a year
Okay, well,
almost.
I mean, Derek Carr, who I don't think is very
Yuck.
good, just got an AAV of 37.5 million from the
Yuck.
Saints.
Gross.
So that's where
They're
we're
not
at.
going anywhere with Derek Carr. Geno Smith is better. I'll take Geno over Derek at this point.
I would
Derek's
too.
taking too many hits. He doesn't want it. He doesn't want the smoke, is my analysis of Derek Carr. Doesn't want the smoke.
But I mean, Geno, I think, just makes you good enough to not get a top 5 pick, but just bad enough to not really help you win the Super Bowl. So I don't know that Geno is worth 35 million a year. Pretty sure he's
I mean,
not, but
is Geno Smith better than Will Levis? Like they could have just taken some guy. I mean, they want to run the ball anyway in Seattle. You want to
yeah.
run the ball. You could draft someone, and he's probably even more talented than Geno Smith and way cheaper. But I don't know. I don't know. We'll see how it goes. I guess we'll see how it goes with Seattle. I wouldn't have done it. That's too much. Way
The
too
bottom
much.
line is there's going to be okay. So there's 4 quarterbacks going in the first round: Stroud, Bryce Young, Will Levis, Anthony Richardson. They're all going in the first round. All right. Last year, only one quarterback went in the first round. Um, but then there's this other group: Hendon Hooker,
Yeah.
Tanner McKee, Jaron
Yes.
Hall from BYU,
I just
Jay
wrote down
Kaner,
Hendon Hooker.
Max Duggan, Clayton Tune, Stetson Bennett, who actually
DTR.
look good. I did a whole video on DTR. Aiden O'Connell,
Yep.
Malik Cunningham. There's a bunch of guys. Now the
Bunch.
bottom line, Grant, is that one or two of those guys in that second group are going to be able to play. But the
Mm-hmm.
difficult part is just figuring out which guy can play.
I
So
have a feeling I know
and
who it
you could
is.
waste 3 years trying to do that. So that's why the Niners picking of Purdy was such a revelation, because
Yeah.
they got it right in the last round, and now they've got a piece that they can utilize.
But what
But
I would say
you
is
can't lean
don't
on.
stop looking. Don't
Yeah,
stop
never
looking.
stop looking.
Always be looking. It's the quarterback position. And with the guy I like this year who's not going in round 1, Hendon Hooker. Hendon Hooker. I think from Seattle's perspective, they would have been better off like just franchise tagging Geno and drafting Hendon Hooker, because face it, if he hadn't torn his ACL, his resume is right there with I mean, he's got a better resume than Anthony Richardson. He's got a better resume than Will Levis. He's always been an efficient passer. He's big. He's a good athlete. I mean, in round 2, that's a good pick.
Yeah.
That's a good pick. Yeah.
All those guys, though, I mean, like Tanner McKee is 6'6", 230 and throws strikes. So if you're really going to have a strong running game, heck, you could do worse off than Tanner McKee.
My question is, how slow is Tanner McKee? Is he
He's
slow or is
Yeah.
he's slow?
Yeah, he's
I don't like
slow.
slow quarterbacks. I'm biased against slow quarterbacks. I have a prejudice against slow quarterbacks.
Against slow quarterbacks.
I have a prejudice against slow quarterbacks. Yeah. Geno Smith, congratulations. God love you. But I feel like this is good news for the 49ers in a sense.
Well,
Gotta be.
just because they beat Geno twice last year or 3 times
Yeah,
last
they're
year.
not scared of Geno. There's a specific type of quarterback that beats the 49ers. The mobile guy that gets outside the pocket and has an initial burst to get away from Nick Bosa. That's not Geno. Maybe it was 10 years ago, but it's not now. It's Marcus Mariota. Honestly, if the Seahawks had signed Marcus Mariota, I think the Niners would be like, ooh, we got to face him twice a year.
Right.
Honestly.
He was great
But they
against
don't.
the Niners in Atlanta.
I still don't understand why the Niners aren't interested in the type of quarterbacks that consistently beat them. They always bring in the slow guys that they feast on.